check with your engineers and see if there are ever arrays that are available. It would be shorter, but wider.
Yeah, yes, I will ask. I already know the answer, but I will ask.
Because, you know, if it was uniform all the way across, then it would be bigger.
The standard antennas that are approved to use with this, they have certain models that are pre-approved with what they can use. They can go with further spectrum, their technology, everything they want in their antennas, and every carrier's different. I'll go back and ask them.
Mr. Guzman?
I was just going to say, you know, for a height issue of 50 feet, we spent 50 minutes talking about this.
So,
And it just got down to a height issue, and I really don't have a problem with that height on that building, and those structures are not even going to be seen by most people driving by because they don't look up to the top. So
okay.
that's my only comment.
All right.
All right, thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Please agendize me for the next one meeting.
I will.
And if I'm on the full neighborhood council meeting, go ahead and take me off that.
Okay.
And then we'll put me on after the next one.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I'll be meeting with DRB before then. So they may have additional comments that I may be able to work in before that meeting, or maybe we'll be able to do some improvements enough where I can give you support.
Good. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Next item up, small lot subdivision guidelines. So Maria, you have information on this.
Basically, the small lot subdivision, we've had a case that came before us, and we've always been asking whatever happened to that property, but across the city, a lot of the areas have found this ordinance is very problematic because the small lot subdivisions don't really give the proper setbacks. They're not properly scaled to the surrounding communities. Basically, the property runs with the building itself. So the city has proposed that they relook at the small lot subdivision and have a report back and take a look at how they can improve the ordinance. And I would suggest, right now, I don't know what the decision was. There was a hearing today, but if this passed, through the city council, then I would say that there's going to be more steps down the road. So I'd like to have this committee look at that. We could probably take a position even after the fact, that this is something that we would like to be looking at in the future. This is something we agree with. But down the road, look at some recommendations, because we've had personal experience with this. And, with the parking and the trash collection, the spacing between the buildings, that kind of thing. We had a whole lot of issues that came up with that project.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, and looking over some of the comments, the public comments on the file, I think we could take a look at some of their issues as well and kind of come up with some nice recommendations down the road. If this was voted on, and let's see what happens, I'd like to have this committee look at that.
So you'll be getting a report tomorrow or anytime after. Did anybody attend that meeting?
No, not that I know. I could call up the audio and see what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the fastest way to do it. Or talk to someone planning
You
differently.
just want to carry this into next month for us to
If
take a
you
position.
want to, or, if you all want to take a position, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine.
Well,
Because,
let's-
because I'm not sure what the decision with city council was today, so I have nothing to
Well,
report.
let's carry it over, because then we'll have the
We'll have
decision
it.
in front of us,
Yeah,
and
sure.
we'll know how we're going to proceed.
That's fine.
Okay. Any questions, public comment on this item? Yes, Mr. Guzman?
Do we have a copy of this ordinance to review?
That would, it's available on the city, what do they call it?
It's got a council
Yeah,
file
there's
right
council.
there.
Well, we're
13.
discussing it here at the neighborhood council. Is there a copy available to the stakeholders and board members?
It's-
Because she's asking you guys to review it. I'm just wondering, are we going to have a copy of this to look at before the next meeting?
No, the copy will be on the city website, so we will all go to the city website. The council file will not be distributed to this committee and won't be available for view.
But you can get it, so you can
But-
put it on the website or make it available to us as well, right?
It is already on the city website.
I'm talking about the neighborhood council website, the one that's having a meeting to discuss this item.
Right, well, we don't post copies of everything that we review, because they're already
Well-
on the web.
Why not?
Because we're volunteers and we don't have the time to do it.
But isn't that part of what the neighborhood council is supposed to do? Is to let the stakeholders know the topics you're going to be discussing, giving them the information that you're going to have and be discussing at the next
Well, they
meeting,
can get the-
so that
they
they
can
can
get that
participate
information.
on an intelligent level with you in understanding the same documents that you are already bringing forth
Have you
as an
seen this
agenda
council
item.
file?
Hmm?
Have you seen the council file?
It's not on the website for me to go look at, or the link wasn't
It's
there.
right here.
I'm asking, I'm saying, if you're gonna have something here, why can't we have it provided and made
There's-
available to us?
I think you can link up. Can't you link up to
I'm
that?
not sure if you can do a direct link to it. I haven't tried it, but let me just clarify this, because I understand what you're asking. We'll discuss topics here having to do with LA zoning code. We do not provide a copy of the LA City Code on our website, and we won't. We discuss topics according to city planning files, which are available on the city planning website. We don't copy those. It's a huge volume of information to try and put all of that on our website when it already exists on city websites. So we're happy to tell you how to go find this information.
Well, then that needs to be there, how to go find the information.
And it's
And,
on
and see,
the
this is my,
agenda.
the point is, this council, the neighborhood council, is supposed to be about getting feedback from the public and representing the public and getting the public's opinion on these issues. And if the public is not given the chance to get to the same information that you're accessing before the meeting occurs, then how are they going to be able to formulate their opinions when they come here?
But if we
I'm saying, it's important information. If you were going to have it and know about it and discuss it, why is it not also going to be available for the stakeholders in advance to read it and be able to talk intelligently after you guys are thoroughly through discussing it before a motion is
And
made?
if a stakeholder believes that it's a high enough priority for them, they can easily research it. We give the information on our
No.
agenda. They've got computers, so why shouldn't they
Mr.
just go to the city's website? They got the council file here.
Mr. Manser, I'm going to reverse this on you. You keep wanting to put the onus on the stakeholder to find out. I am saying that the neighborhood council should make it easy for the stakeholder. If you've gone to the link to look at it, what's wrong with you copying that link and putting
We
it
didn't
into
go
your
to the
agenda?
link.
It's
Hold on.
not
We
a
didn't
big,
do that.
huge donation of volunteer time to copy the link and put it in the
Okay,
agenda
hold on,
for
hold
the
on, slow
CF
down.
file.
Thank you for the comment. I can't think of the person who made the quote, but it is the responsibility of the governed to monitor their government, and they need to go out and seek out this information as easy as putting this council file number into Google or into the City Clerk Connect website and looking it up. We have no login to the city that gives us information that anybody in this room or anybody in this
Cut and
area
paste it, put it in a
can't get to.
PDF file on the committee page. I mean, it's not that difficult to keep your stakeholders informed.
It's more work than we have time to do as
Exactly.
volunteers.
And if you've gone to it and you've looked at it, you can copy and paste it, it's 2 seconds.
Get the
Mr. Kuzma.
information to come to this meeting informed. If they can't come to this meeting informed, we can't.
Tell us where to get informed then.
It says right there.
Okay, Jim.
I think the thing is, maybe on the website, we can have, for both Granada South and North, and part of it, most of it is the website, information on how a stakeholder can get a city file, It says there on the city file, but we can say, go to here to see information on the city file, so it's easy for them to go to the city site. I don't agree that we have to have information on everything else, it'd be books and books, but just telling the stakeholder where they can go. If you want more information, here's how you go.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, we think
And
that's a good idea.
that's doable. It's not everything you want, but at least it's something,
Is
And
there,
then
is there,
maybe-
is there anything to be done with the webmaster?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This might be something that we can do with, have our webmaster,
Well,
Aaron,
we
do.
we can ask him to put these links on, but again, going back to trying to put the information on there, our service contract with him doesn't even rise to the level of having to post that amount of information, so, that's.
But we should
that's
have
what I'm
something
saying.
on there that says, here's how you get to the city files, and you can find all this information here. It should be easy so they can click over.
Yeah, I think that's.
You know,
that's
Mr.
suggestion.
Guzman, I agree with you on some of this, but on the practical way of looking at it, we're volunteers. We cannot do what the city itself does, that they pay people to do. We're trying to do what, we're competing with people who get paid a nice salary to do. We just don't have that, it's just not part of our portfolio.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Next item is baseline mansionization ordinance, and Maria, you
Okay.
have information on that as well.
Yeah, there's a movement underway to actually revise the baseline mansionization ordinance to reduce the floor area specification for properties that are 7,500 square feet, to reduce the bonus from 20% to 10%, and also to clarify some of the exemptions when it comes to garages and screen porches and that kind of a thing. All in all, it will decrease the amount of building on a lot
Yeah.
somewhat, and then still leave intact for those areas who would like to submit for a residential floor area district the ability to do so. The baseline mansionization ordinance, because it's wildly confusing, even for developers and especially for residents, has created such a firestorm across the city. Today, they voted to come back with some specific recommendations from the planning department and the city attorney's office to craft a better ordinance. So, basically, the support has been, let's do it. Go ahead and have the city work on this. And I'd like to see this committee down the road make some recommendations as well. But if you like, it is after the fact. The hearing was yesterday. So either we can do the same thing we did with the small lot subdivision ordinance. We can continue this at another date and have something more in hand to make some concrete recommendations. I heard a lot of good ideas from the testimony at the hearing. I was able to call up the audio, and I think we could kind of be in line with what other areas are doing. Because we've been hit with mansionization, no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We've been hit with it. So it would be a nice way to, I think, meet some demands across the residential districts of the city.
Questions, comments on this issue, Jim?
Just a comment, the problem I have with the baseline mansionization ordinance is, LA is a big city, different neighborhoods have different densities. And what looks good at the beach, because land is really valuable, and they have a small lot ordinance, a different type of beach lot ordinance, and that looks good there and it's understandable. Something like that does not look good here in Granada Hills.
Yeah.
So you have to take into consideration, I hope they do on this, the BMO, that they look at the current density of that community or that neighborhood and see what it's like.
But see, a neighborhood can be more dense if they want to be,
Oh, yeah.
and that they can be tighter or looser.
Yeah, but I mean, because when we did the survey like 6 or 7 years ago, actually it was like 13% and 17%. That was it.
That was our RFA. I mean, the
Yeah,
floor
but-
area is 17, 16, actually 16%, Jim.
Yeah.
What we did, our study,
Yeah. But I think it should have some idea that, where they look at the specific neighborhood, instead of doing a one blanket over everything. Maybe we shouldn't have one blanket ordinance over everything.
Well, I don't think, I can't really see one blanket over all of the city. I think it's.
Well, this is kind of a general blanket ordinance, but even as it is, it's very generous. You can still, you still have the base house at 45%. And then you've got exemptions. You got a 10% bonus. You know, this is some of the proposals. Then you've got a 10% bonus, and then you've got another 1,100 or 1,000. Well, if the proposal goes through, it would be 800 square feet of extra building. So you've got a 45%, you've got a 10%, and then you've got another 800 square feet on top of that for the lot. For single-family home.
Yeah, see, I don't think this applies to our area, because what works in downtown or other areas that are much more already dense does not work here. You know, and the reverse goes true also. If we tried to say to them, hey, you have to undense this to make it even
Well,
this.
well, yeah, but see, that's probably the what would I say? The most generous thing out there without being, it's kind of trying to hit a midpoint without being, you know, without having an 8,000 square foot house on a 5,000 square foot lot. Because that's what was happening here in Los Angeles. I mean, we see it everywhere. But what it is smoothing that out. So it took that and smoothed that out. It wants to smooth that out a little bit more, make it just a little more restriction. And communities across the city, residential areas who want it stricter, can apply for the RFA. So, I mean, you have a tailor-made process in there, which is, I think, great to have that option. And then you have the overlay. Jim, before the baseline mansionization, I mean, you could build a huge piece of property on a 5,000 square foot lot. I mean, I think we talked about that because of all you had to do were setbacks. And it
Didn't
was,
you have that on the street where you're at, about a block over? Block east?
Yeah.
There's that
No.
huge,
you could
huge.
even, no, at one time you could even build worse than that. At one time, before BMO. Then BMO came in, and then all the exemptions came in, and now they're, you know, Dick Plattkin et al. Are trying to kind of smooth that out a little bit.
Mr. Guzman?
Yeah, first of all, I would like, Maria, if you would, explain to me what you mean by when you say we are really into it regarding mansionization.
Did I say we're really into it?
Yeah. That we
I would
have
say- I would-
indicating that possibly we had a problem with it here.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Can you explain to me where the problem is and how prevalent it is within our jurisdiction?
We have, when we were first gathering together, there
When?
were 35, our old residents group, this is outside the council.
No, I'm not asking about that again. You're going into something else that is not
There
the
were 35
question.
properties that were actually subdivided and mansionized.
How many?
35.
How many were divided?
And then at 35.
How-
And then came,
Since when?
Since 2000.
How many since mansionization has been passed?
And then we had an ICO.
How many
We
since
had 3
mansionization
ICOs.
has been passed?
Let her
We
answer.
we had 3 ICOs passed.
I
and
know
then-
about
And
those.
then the greatest recession hit. So that also had an effect with what is being built. So
So-
therefore, we are at risk again.
And where's there indication that we are at risk or that there's a problem occurring?
I can think of 4 or 5 properties. There's
That are right
just 2 on Louise.
Yep.
I mean, they got no yard at all except for a little yard in the front. I mean, the building.
Which
goes
ones are you
practically
which ones
to
are you
the- to the
talking
alley
about,
in the
Mr.
back.
Mansker? Which ones are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ones 2 blocks north of.
The corner of Louise and Tribune.
You know, I like to.
Yeah.
Those
you know
were
what,
built
let's
way-
end this discussion. I
Well,
don't think we- I don't think
excuse
we-
me.
Hey, look, I don't have to justify
I
to
don't
you what
think
it
we- I
is
don't think we
we
need
want to do.
I don't
And if
think
you
we-
have a disagreement, fine.
I just wanted to understand what was meant by an indication that we have a problem
No,
with
you challenged her. Once she
mansionization.
told you, you challenged her on it.
And, okay, we
I wanted an explanation of where there was an indication of a problem.
35 properties, we had to have 3 ICOs, and we had the greatest recession, and right now we are ripe for mansionization again. And we have some current projects underway. Now, I would like to end this discussion. There is no point in getting into a debate on the floor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Then the rest of my comment is, again, here we have some documents that we can't see. So I would hope that in the future, we can have some way of knowing what these things are.
Thank you, I'll send my
Okay.
homing
that-
pigeon to your house and drop it
Eric,
off.
That's, we'll close that item. All right, on to the reports. Do we have any new information? Oh, before we move off of these items, just since we're carrying these to next month, can I get a motion for items B and C to postpone to our next meeting?
I like
So
it.
moved.
Okay, moved by Eric, seconded by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That is unanimous. Okay, Maria, the Brown Hills Zone Community Plan, any,
Nothing new. There's absolutely, I have no information on when the hearing will be, nothing. I think we talked about this last month, that there was an expedited letter from LeGrand, and I haven't seen any action to that, but whether the city attorney has actually, approved the EIR, the DEIR, and that's where the process lays right now. No information on that. Have not
okay.
heard.
Questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, community care facility, anything new?
Nothing new, there's no hearing plan that I know of. Council's back from recess, so we should probably get a new committee meeting together on that, I would say pretty soon, probably August or September, I'm assuming.
Excellent. Questions or comments on that item, Jim?
Where is this community care facility?
There's an ad hoc committee, and it's a special committee that meets probably, it's already met about 3 or 4 times since last February. So it's, basically the community care facility ordinance,
Oh, I know. Okay, I'm
devolved.
thinking about something.
And so the committee is putting together a new ordinance. And the latest planning report came out, I believe it was June 28th, I believe. There's a new report.
Okay. Any others? Okay. Closing remarks.
Just for future, I'd like to, talk about this, with this committee, what we can do about some of the proliferation of maybe problematic storefronts along Chatsworth Street, like proliferation of massage parlors, what that definition is. I think we talked about that before. The hookah lounges, and the illegal billboards. We have, at one time, and I forgot which committee did that, we did a survey of the illegal billboards. And the risk with that is any billboard, as a way the ordinances are standing right now, can be converted to digital use by right apparently. So it would behoove us to make sure that the unpermitted billboards are taken down, if we can, as a community.
Okay, well, first we gotta identify them.
We have that information somewhere. It was a long time ago we did that
You
survey.
can dig it up. We can certainly try
We
to-
gotta dig that up, Jim.
There were a couple on
All
Chatsworth.
right,
Yeah, there were a
so
couple. Okay.
I'll put that,
Okay, can we put that
yeah,
down?
and I will mention, I did get a business owner was commenting about the hookah lounges on Chatsworth and the smell on the street from it, and he was saying it was interfering with his business, and some of his customers were complaining, so I think it's a good item to carry for our next meeting. John?
Just a couple things. We had Sprouts out before, and I don't know what the resolution of that was. Maybe it's something to consider to,
With the city attorney, you mean?
they came out in regards to their alcohol sales and
Yeah.
what they were gonna do. I don't know that they ever came back.
Well, I think our takeaway from that was that that they had what they had and everything was all right, but we were asking them to, oh boy, now I'm drawing a blank on it.
Yeah.
They were supposed to restrict certain sales so that.
Yeah, but they never did. I think the takeaway was that they never did sell, they sold, these, micro beers, how do you, what's the term?
Craft.
Craft beers, yeah. They were only selling craft beers. They weren't changing anything over. They weren't bringing in like lots of Bud and the big breweries. They were concentrating on
Although
the craft beer.
they did, and I think the issue that we ran into was that that lawsuit had overridden the city's ability to put restrictions on the
Yeah.
additional
That's what it was.
uses, and they were gonna get us some help. I remember what the issue is now. Their conditional use permit, there was a provision that was struck from it, and we felt that was done improperly without notice.
And that was done by a certain lady
Yeah.
in the office
We,
there.
I owe them a letter to ask them to reinstate that, and then if they want to take it off, go through the proper channels. Although, keep in mind that that provision is not enforceable at this point, so it's moot whether it's on the conditional use permit or not, but it still should not have been removed from the conditional use permit without a hearing.
Yeah.
And should the court, as it wins its way through court, everybody changes their minds, it could become enforceable in the future.
Gotta
So
work
it's-
with how
yeah,
it
so it's
plays.
not- And they had agreed to cooperate with us on having that reinstated, so.
The reason I brought it up was, I watched this crime mapping of the area, and it seems like there's this increase in theft, shoplifting crimes. They really don't give us a lot of detail on it, so maybe as an item, I don't know if we'd have to do a public access request back to.
A lot of
find out
businesses
what-
don't want to really
what-
disclose
what-
that
What's
because.
being taken, the police would know, but we don't really have a good idea. Is it alcohol related, or?
Well,
what's
it
driving
depends
this?
on, I would think it would depend on whether they caught the person, because if something was shoplifted and you never caught the person,
Well, these are ones that they're,
Petty theft.
it's on this crime mapping website. And it comes in here, it'll say 1800 block of Chatsworth, shoplifting, petty theft, $950 or under. And it gives it the date and the time, but it doesn't really, I'm wondering if there's a way that we can obtain more information to see if the items relate to our zoning properties. If there's a correlation, if we find out that, the majority of this is related to
well,
alcohol.
which type of establishments are being shoplifted? Is it liquor
We
stores
don't know,
or?
that's just it.
I wish we knew.
And I can tell you that the police department won't
No, they won't.
tell us.
Yeah.
No, they won't.
What about a freedom of information
No,
request?
I don't think
It's
so.
exempt.
Yeah.
Really?
It's the reason that they don't have mug shots on the web in LA.
It's really a hard thing to do, but, like dealing with sober living homes or, group homes or marijuana dispensaries, your best argument are the crimes that are associated with these things that the public doesn't necessarily know about. And you can get the crime, you have to really do some digging, but your best defense against these kind of things, if you could get a list of accurate crime data. And you can, it's very difficult to do, but you can. And I'm not exactly sure, possibly the security people that Regency hires might be able to give you some information, some data, if they will. Just in private conversation, the one guard does admit that most of those petty thefts are alcohol related. TJ Maxx has a fair amount of petty thefts, but these are associated with CVS, Rite Aid, Ralph's.
I guess my
I'd also like to know the
Well, let me-
ages and sex of some of the, because that also could be telling.
Do you have something that we can agendize for discussion?
Maybe the agenda would be review of conditional use permits. I don't see them regularly submitted to us. I think they're only good for a 5-year, 7-year period, and I don't remember when the last one was that came
But
across.
what good was a conditional use permit tell us about the shoplifting?
It would
Well,
give-
it'd give us a forum to discuss it.
Exactly. Should we approve it or make recommendations? Should we type
So
it?
maybe if we could put it on the agenda as far as maybe sending.
I don't know, it's,
I'll
every
put it- I'll
Officer
put it on
Del
there.
Toro shows up at our meetings, and, all he's been talking about is how crime is going down and this, that, and the
Well,
other, and,
we'll-
You know what?
We'll put this on the agenda for next month.
Mr. Mansker, I'll beg to differ with some of those comments that are.
I kinda
I'm
look
seeing
at
a
it too,
whole
because-
other.
I'm hearing them, but I ain't seeing it, but.
With that,
So next Tuesday night, go down to Northwich Park and talk to all. No, it's National Night Out, really.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
With that, motion to adjourn.
So
By
moved.
John. Second by John, moved by Eric. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
We're gonna take somebody to the emergency room soon.
Oh, I got a Charlie horse sitting down, huh?
You should have rode over here.
It's not a Charlie horse, it's an ass horse. He's been sitting on it.
These pictures aren't really too graphic pictures.
I mean, I just tell it as I see it. He's grabbing.
Yeah. It looks at all like it looks now.
It's such
So I imagine this will be a lot better. Now, we do need cell phones, you know. I don't like that.
Hey, tell me something.
But,
How's his desk
maybe
looking?
do something else instead. You know, it doesn't conform to
Oh, good.
Maybe they can do something else.
better than I could do.
Old school,